Yo, what's up, guys? Lucky here. I just want to do a quick review on Scream 7, and there's a lot of negative talks, about AI use in the movie implemented. But honestly, on the contrary, I think it was really good use, and probably the best use I've seen in horror movies. And basically, I would probably give this movie like a maybe an 8 out of 10. It's actually pretty good slasher movie. Um, it kind of brings back the whole, you know, Scream 1 movie and the whole, most of the cast. And it's basically just a sequel to that movie, ignoring all the other movies. And I'm kind of assuming that the movies in between are kind of just, movies that are created in the world. But basically, this, we start off with following the person. Well, we actually survive. We actually start with two people. Sorry, I had a little brain tantrum right there. We start with two people who are going to the original house, and it's kind of like an Airbnb kind of like demo and memorabilia everywhere, and just the whole case and scene. And there's like chalk marks of where the people died, and there's also a screen person like in a suit, which is just like a robot, which is pretty sick as well. They end up getting killed by a real scream killer. And then besides that, I recommend if you like this, genre or this, all the scream movies, I recommend watching this one. It's pretty good. Now I'm gonna get into spoilers. Right after that, we start going into the family that survived, especially the lady, the one that survived the first Scream movie, and we kind of see her starting off with her family and just kind of being really overprotected. And then her daughter, and her have like complications because she won't talk about her past. And then she starts dating. So this guy, she wants him away because she was very she got betrayed by that guy. So she's very overprotective over his daughter. And then we also meet the father, who is you know the lawyer from Community, which is pretty sick. But after that, we just start seeing a deep fake AI video of like the original Sue, who died in the first Scream movie. And it's kind of so it's basically Sue calling the lady, and she ends up like having to kind of question if he's alive or not. And he's threatening her and saying that he's still alive and blah 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 blah. And then the reporter comes out of nowhere, which is pretty sick. As soon as they get attacked, the family, because they get threatened, and it's just like a whole Tom and Jerry just scenes of them getting chased by killers. But the first one, it was a pretty sick scene. He ends up getting hit by the reporter, which I mentioned before. And basically, it just goes off rail from there. They discover that the guy is just a poser, and it's like some random person who was in the psych ward and was recently released. And then they go investigate that and try to find out if Sue's still alive. And then we later find out that it's actually the neighbor who is the Scream doing deep fakes, and also the guy, like the head guy of the ward. And he was also working with the psych ward person, the mental illness guy in his psych ward in his care. So it was a three Scream kind of thing. I guess they were gonna do like a plot twist where it was the daughter, but then it got revealed, so then they switched it. And then also the reporter was gonna be on it, but all of that came out, and they had to change the ending. And also they did do like screen testing for it, and the majority of the crowd didn't like that idea, so they just went with the crazy neighbor and the psych ward guy pretending to be Sue. They use deepfake and AI to create Sue back into life, kind of like doing live video calls and all this. So it's pretty sick that she married into like a cop. which I prior said is the actor for the lawyer in Community, which is pretty sick. I love that guy. And we have a lot of funny moments too, that made me laugh actually. And there's also a couple jump scares that got me. That was actually pretty good. But besides that, if you like this franchise, I'd recommend watching it. And that's about it. See you guys later.